What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Burn the Wagon podcast, where we're here to burn the wagon that is capitalism, patriarchy, and colonialism. With my guest here today, Miguel. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to that YouTube, subscribe to the Patreon if you can, and other streaming platforms as well. But we try to push that YouTube more than anything. But today, my guest Miguel. I always like to start off with where you're from. Like, you know what I mean? Let the people know where you're from, rep your city, rep your town, you know what I mean?
For sure. Thank you for having me. So my name is Miguel Franco. My art name is G Heaven. And I grew up in Santa Cruz, California. Beach Flats to be exact. That's what I rep. Also lived in San Jose growing up too, kind of back and forth a little bit, but for the most part, Santa Cruz.
Yeah. I was out there recently for a show, and like the beach flats, that you said specifically, that area in downtown is changing a lot, and I mean, obviously it's a devastating thing, but like how are you feeling about when you go back home, like seeing that gentrification coming in?
Yeah, it's a constant change, like, and it's a lot. Like, I feel like, I first moved to San Jose when I was in fourth grade because we couldn't afford to live at the spot we were living at anymore. And since then, that was like 2008, 2009, I had already seen like homies and friends that I grew up with, like starting to move to like Central Valley, Watsonville even, but just outside of the beach flats or close to downtown. And so it's constantly been changing, but more recently, yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to see for sure. There's obviously things that like will never change, like as much as they want to try. I don't know, but it's a constant change. A lot of people that I grew up with like no longer living there, but there's still a lot of beautiful things that I just try to cherish and like focus on, like the memories too, that like those things will never leave. You feel me? Like especially like stuff from when I was like really little and like growing up around there. So yeah.
Yeah, one thing that bummed me about Santa Cruz, they didn't have a lot of food trucks out there.
Nah.
And like Watsonville, like you would
Yeah.
have to go out to Watsonville for like the real shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's like literally now the only food trucks I know of are in the beach flats or like the ones by the Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
that was the spot. I tried it
it's the
before.
only spot.
Before I moved. Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
have a spot in Santa Cruz that was like, damn, this is where I go eat? You know what I mean?
Honestly, like like my tia's house, is like where I'd eat, but like the restaurants,
Well, I feel like
there's no Salvadorian. I mean, like,
is there in Santa Cruz?
not anymore. I mean, there's one. I don't want to speak bad on them, but it's just not really authentic. There's like one spot, but yeah,
That's how I feel about
yeah.
Vallarta and their Mexican food. It's like
yeah,
it's like super commercialized.
it does what it needs to.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
But it's not like like
It caters to
yeah.
a certain crowd.
Exactly. But yeah, usually we would, if we were trying to go to like like a good Salvadorian restaurant, authentic Salvadorian restaurant, we'd go to San Jose or Salinas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
And I feel like we can touch on we're talking about it now. Like your roots are as Salvadorian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Half. Yeah.
So like I mean, I don't want to save it for later because like we're talking about it now. So like
Yeah.
you want to talk about you've taken a couple trips.
For
I
sure.
remember actually last time. I maybe not last time, but one of these times you took a trip. Right before you left, you bought a bunch of stickers.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about like you said your family's village and stuff back there.
Yeah, for sure. So I could go on and on. I love talking about my village. Repping it today, Tehuicho.
Tehuicho.
Tehuicho. However, it's a Nahuatl name. Pipio name specifically. Pipio is like the dialect of Nahuatl that a lot of my family like still speaks.
Yeah.
Like parts of. It's not like regularly talked really, except for like some elders there. But yeah, that's where my dad is from. And yeah, I've had the blessing of I've been able to go like a good amount of times. In the last 3 years, I've been 3 times. And that's just been like, it's such a magical place, and it's been through so much like turmoil, but there's still so much beauty to this day, and there's so much like memory and history that I could go on and on about that just it sticks with me, you know. It sticks with me. It sticks with my dad. It sticks with my cousins, my younger cousins, you know, like that we just continue to try to carry on, you know, like I mean, they had to migrate here. They were forced to migrate here, right? Like it wasn't like they choose to, but it's like out of the what was happening there in the late 70s, 80s, with the war, and you know, it's just a trip too, because like if we go to the roots of why the war started, so much of it also has to do with like the U.S. and U.S. wanting control over, you know, small countries like that and crops and all that. So yeah, it's a trip. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel like El Salvador, when Americans hear El Salvador, their brain automatically goes MS-13 because the
Yeah,
U.S. has
for
done,
sure.
done a really good job at like spreading that propaganda as this is what's coming out of El Salvador. But in Santa Cruz, like I live with El Salvadoran homie and his son, and beautiful fucking people.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like everywhere, just
Yeah.
like there, he was just literally the kindest, sweetest man I've ever met in my life.
For sure.
Like straight
Sure.
up, just fucking sweet as shit. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
you know, like I don't know, like I just feel like El Salvador always gets this rep where it's just like in gang infested country.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that part of it's a trip too, because we want to talk about it too. It's like those gangs didn't start there. They started here. You
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
me? They started here in the 80s out of like people, these immigrant kids who were refugees, like straight up refugees. Like they came to El Salvador from like, or sorry, they came to Los Angeles mostly. Like that's where it was really starting. And from El Salvador as refugees, often not even directly just from El Salvador, like El Salvador, and then we're transported to Nicaragua, then transported to Guatemala, and then Mexico, and then all this stuff. Like they've been through so much, right? And they've seen war, they've seen violence, so much violence. They come here to to the U.S. and you know, they want to defend themselves from other gangs, from other people who are in their communities, like causing violence to them. Um, and so, yeah, that's just like one part, because I always think of it as like, you know, a lot of the times gangs and that kind of thing like start out of protection, right, for their own people. And yeah, it's a trip because yeah, like that is what even today, like Trump and all these other people like try to paint our country, like try to paint El Salvador as, when it's like we were forced to, or like Salvadorians were forced to, you know, get with the violence here because of the way that like black and brown people in the US are forced to, you know, like really assimilate in violence to survive, to make an economy, to everything, you know, violence and drugs and everything. So, you know, that really, to me, there wouldn't be MS-13 if there wasn't Salvadorians in the US. You feel me? That wouldn't exist, in my opinion. Like, and even, I don't know, like, I could go on and on too, because, like, even right now in El Salvador, like, all the times I go there, like, personally, I don't see, like, the gang violence. Like, I don't see it. What I see right now, which has been the opposite side of it, right, is, like, I've been seeing all this violence from the state in El Salvador with, like, Bukele, the current president, and all that, like trying to return things kind of to how they were before the war, in like a super, like kind of similar to here, like a super, like, what's the word for it?
So
Like,
this president is
current president. Yeah.
is a little doing similar things as the Trump
Oh, for sure.
administration.
Yeah, and they're close. Like, and yeah, you can read all about it online. They're friends and stuff. And yeah, no, it's a trip. Like, yeah, he's doing a lot of surveillance. It's like a surveillance state.
Okay.
That's the word.
Okay.
There's like, you know, it's so crazy. Like last time I was there, you know, the war ended in El Salvador in in the 90s, like officially ended, right? But there, of course, like a war can end, there's still everything that happens from it. And from then until, like, you know, recently, like places like Tehuicho, like to give it a little example too, like Tehuicho is a really small village. Like there's like 5 main families. We're all like somehow related or married in with each other, mostly indigenous people. People are still speaking their dialects. People who are there now are a lot of like people who were refugees and came back and don't want to give up on their land and they're still there. But it's far from everything. It's out the cuts, bro. Like it's almost like being in like deep in like Santa Cruz mountains where it's like you don't have service, you don't have nothing. Like the closest thing, like closest like place where there's service and paved roads and all that is like 30 minutes away, and you're going through the jungle to get there. And so it was a trip most recently when I was there, because tell me why I seen the like the police like in these like fully armed with like assault rifles, like in their army military, because they're all militarized there, in this big ass truck like the way they do in Mexico too. They were going and patrolling like like our village, and like no one goes to Tehuicho, like really, like unless your family's there, you know. So they're going and patrolling, trying to, and that's what they're doing in these patrols, is trying to catch a lot of people who are actually were in the U.S. and then got deported, are now in El Salvador, and they have MS-13 tattoos or something. And a lot of the times with the patrolling, they're trying to go and find these people. And even though they serve time and stuff in the U.S., they come back. It's a business, you know. The prison system there, just like here, is a business. So it just goes back to like, and the more numbers of people that are being incarcerated in El Salvador that are seen as MS-13 are like, the more people, the better it looks for the president to other countries like the US, like Israel, like whatever. But yeah, I could go on and on.
And you talked about like the war ended in, you said the 80s or the 90s?
The 90s,
yeah. And I wonder if we still have like bases there in El Salvador. Do you know that? Do you know if we do?
I don't know if, I don't think we have current bases, but I do know that a lot of the bases in El Salvador right now have been built and paid for, and a lot of the times like the current weapons are paid for and pushed from like the U.S. military. Yeah, for sure.
Because I just learned in this doc the other day that around the world, the U.S. has, I believe, 750 bases around the world, right?
Yeah.
Compared to every other, this is the U.S. is 750.
For sure.
The rest of the world combined is 45.
Wow. That's scary. That's scary.
So
my God.
we just started this war with Iran, right?
Yeah.
We're fighting Israel's war in Iran. That's just one war. We're in war everywhere, all year round, 24/7.
Exactly.
The United States is a war machine.
For real,
like 100%. Nothing other than that.
I also want to.
We're gonna get in trouble for this one. No, just kidding.
I get nervous sometimes. I'm like,
gonna get flagged.
Yeah, but no, it's real. It's real, you know. And for me too, I'm like, damn. Like, I think about it too. I'm like, y'all want to put so much like blame on individuals, like, you know, like part of these gangs, and then these governments are doing like, you know.
Yeah. Well, another thing I wanted to say too is like.
Yeah,
I feel like I just learned too is like a lot of these terrorism groups around the world that start, it's all like usually funded and like you're saying by U.S. tax dollars, or like sending these groups ammunition and guns
for sure
to fight against the opposition, right? But it always ends up like backfiring on the U.S. or Israel
for sure.
Groups. Yeah, where they end up just like fighting back, like growing to a point where they end up fighting against the people that started them, or gave them the start funding. You know what I mean, or whatever. But okay, we can talk about it all day. But something I really wanted to talk about too is that I've been seeing you push, and I really like the style of it. It takes me back to the homies days.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Is your art page, and you talked about it in the beginning, is G Haven. So yeah, you guys can check that out. Follow him on Instagram. You know what I mean? It's all super dope. So yeah, when did that start for you?
Yeah, so the art stuff, I mean, just as a kid, like, being in the beach flats, being in Santa Cruz, like just seeing my homies, my uncles, my just people around me, my big brother just drawing all the time, drawing like Santa Cruz, writing Santa Cruz out, writing the hood, writing our little nicknames, all that. Ever since I was a kid, and then like I would say, in high school and stuff is really when I started drawing more and more, and yeah, like the homies, like the little figures you get at the what do you call it, like the corner store or whatever they have in
Yeah,
the quarter machine.
I
Those
still
are
got a hell of them.
That's
Yeah,
sick. Keep those. Yeah. And it's like those things are like, little depictions of like things we see growing up as like Latinos or however you want to say it. But yeah, they're like little depictions of, people we see, characters we see. And so I always got so hyped seeing those. And so really with my art recently is like recreating those types of images, but also adding like the twist of my experiences too. Because like that person, that artist, like David Gonzalez, who made like the homie stuff, that's like his perspective from what he's seen, right? And where he grew up, I believe he grew up in LA. I grew up in the Central Coast in a small town. But yeah, really like I like to draw. I like even this cover right here, like those are two women like in El Salvador. Like that's I try to draw different things, and even the style, really the style of like the fine ballpoint pen drawing, which is something I've always liked. This comes from prison. This style comes from prison. Of a lot of older cats, like old heads, like being incarcerated, only having access to pens and pencils and doing their thing. Making it work. So I try to keep it authentic to that style, but also add like as things evolve, change,
yeah.
adding new things.
So right here we got Dear Diary. That's a
Yeah,
zine, right?
yeah. So it's a Dear Diary is like a series. So I
Okay.
have 4 zines. Yeah, so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a 4-part series, or
yeah. It's still going.
okay,
Yeah, it's not done.
you're gonna keep going
Yeah,
forever.
yeah, for sure.
And I like that you talked about like the inspiration of the homies, because like I'm not from a Latin community or anything, but
Yeah,
like
for sure.
growing up in Santa Rosa, the communities were really like intertwined. A lot of
Yeah,
like, you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean, a lot of aunties, gravitated towards the lowrider lifestyle, and
For
same with the
sure.
uncles too. You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
for
older
sure.
homies that gravitated towards the, and still do. There's a
Yeah.
lot of aunties that still come make up, and you know what I mean,
That's what's
oldies,
up.
and
Yeah.
but yeah, like you said, you go around the neighborhood or go around the cookout or whatever party or whatever. That's actually people that you would see.
Oh, for sure.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like, and it's a
yeah.
trip. No matter you're in Santa Rosa, Santa Cruz, Watsonville, LA. I feel like just these communities, the res, the Latin community,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
all just like very similar. You see the same characters everywhere you go, and it's a
Yeah.
trip.
And it's like unifying too, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful. It always makes me like laugh too when I see the homies. I'm like, damn, that looks like my tío, or that looks like my cousin, and it's like Mousy, the bald fool with super big ears, Like it's just hella funny. Like like it's really like it's a good twist. I remember them catching kind of some flack because people were saying they're like promoting gang violence and stuff, like the
Oh yeah,
style.
yeah,
But it's like it is what it is.
yeah.
Like,
It's
yeah,
just the people of the
it's just the
community. You know what I
people.
mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But like you said about like Mousy, it's always a fucked up nickname, man. Like, it's always like the
Yeah.
most insecure thing, like where they got.
They pick like the smallest thing and they blow it out of proportion. You feel me? It's hilarious. Yeah, it's too much sometimes, but it's funny.
Where can people find the zine or your merch if you have any or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So my Instagram, gheaven79, and my website's in my bio. Yeah, but yeah,
Cool. I'll be able to tag that too.
for sure.
So like do you have a person that or teacher, or you said your brother seen your brother draw, but
Yeah.
like is there anybody that would like in class or anything that was like, or maybe it might have been your brother that was like, yo, let's you try it too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually think I have a photo. I wanted to bring it. It's my homie. It's my homie, little chicken, Joey Mendoza. Well, it's my homie. He passed away when we were like 12. But he was like one of the homies that I would draw with in class all the time. Like in fourth grade, I remember specifically in Joe's class, or no, not Joe's class, Buzz's class. We would always be drawing, and that fool was always like, "Oh, you should try it too." Like, "Oh, like." We like give each other like tips on how to do certain letters. It was like that time too, like the S.
Yeah.
We're always like, okay, we did the S, but like we're from Santa Cruz, so we got to figure out how to do a C too. Like that looks like the same style, and we would do that. So yeah, that fool like really, I remember like a little crew of us, and he was one of the main people that would always be drawing.
It's a trip. So, that S man made it like hella generations.
You still see it, you feel me? I see it like, because I work with youth right now, and they be drawing it sometimes. I'm like, oh my god, it doesn't stop.
It's a trip, dude.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that there are those things that made it, still make it.
For sure.
And the internet didn't kill everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I use the internet, I love the internet, I understand, but like, yeah, there's its problems.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, shout out to the homie Chicken.
Yeah, little chicken.
Little chicken, yeah.
RP, bro. Yeah, RP. I'm still trying to, because he got shot in the beach flats, and the block that we grew up on, like over there, where he got shot, like I still always go put candles.
Mm-hmm.
Like he died in, I think it was 2012 or 2013. Correct me if I'm wrong, internet. But when he got shot, like we would always put flowers, we'd always put candles, balloons, right? And it's on the corner, Bigsby and East Cliff Drive. I always forget what that side street is, but and the city would always take our stuff, and they still do. So I always make a pack whenever I'm in town. I always try to go put down a candle, put down some flowers, some prayers, and hopefully one day we'll be able to have like a permanent thing. I don't know. That would be dope.
Yeah. Isn't it a trip how Santa Cruz will do this thing where things happen like that, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
That the beach flats is hella close to the boardwalk.
Exactly.
And they don't want like people getting afraid of like, oh, there was somebody shot right there.
Yeah.
At the boardwalk. So because they wanted that continuous like cash flow coming in, like
for sure.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So like I feel like that's another thing to talk about Santa Cruz too, is like they like to keep things like that on the wrap.
They do, and yeah, you made a good point. Like that spot where it is right when people are coming from Ocean Street and they're going to the boardwalk, is right on that route.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone is coming from San Jose, coming from the Bay, all these people, all these tourists who are coming, they have to pass it. And exactly, it's like they want to hide it for this image or whatever it is. And like, don't get me wrong, like Santa Cruz, like the crime levels and everything are a lot lower than most places. Yeah, but it's like, that doesn't mean that like the people that we lost only because we've lost like less or whatever it is don't matter. Like we still matter, you feel me? So it's like, yeah, it's a trip. Like, yeah, they definitely try to like, even with the beach flats, like the murals and stuff, they've been like messed with a lot, and the garden has been messed with a lot from the city and different things. When it's like, that is like, if we get into it too, the people that run the boardwalk, the custodians, the maintenance people, like all the people that make that shit happen, most of them are from the beach flats or now live in Watsonville too. Like, so it's a trip. But
isn't it a trip? They want us to work for their organizations, but they'll push us the fuck out.
I'm like, what are you gonna do, bro?
Yeah. And now Watsonville is like 35 minutes with like traffic. You know what I mean? Like
bad, dude.
Like it's hard. Some people, it's hard for them to get to work. They don't. Not everyone has a whip.
Exactly.
You know
it's out the way too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hella out the way. So it's like, it sucks to see the culture of the beach flats, like. And I wasn't down there all often, you know what I mean? But like still driving by and going to the boardwalk and shit, you see it. You can feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trip. But Yeah, sorry, I went all over the place. And you talked about you said something about a mural. You help with murals too, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And how I got connected with murals was the first mural I ever saw like being painted was in the beach flats
Mm-hmm.
at Poet or like near Poets Park. There's uh, a couple murals that my mentor that I was introduced to in high school, Irene. Um, have you had her on the channel yet?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I had her
good.
a while back.
Okay, good.
Back when I was still doing Instagram Live.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my I don't know, big sister, sibling, mentor, but yeah, her and Victor were painting the mural when I was like in high school, and I was like, damn, that's dope. Like our people can just do that, you know? Like it's not like, oh, some you need some big degree, or you need to, be some white person who goes to university or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these are people that look like me and sound like me and are part of my community, and they're painting this dope mural and they're asking kids to help. Like it was dope.
You know what's crazy
Yeah.
too is Victor's like he's a home, like he's from like
Yeah.
his accent is like
Yeah, he's a
choloed
homie.
out.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a
but
homie.
like that fool went to these
Institutions.
high
Yeah.
prestigious like schools. You know what I mean? He went to all these schools and went to these spaces that are created for white people. But he's cholo the fuck. You know what I mean? Like
He's always kept it. That's
he's
yeah.
so
It's
like
so
I've always thought about like that's so sick. And
yeah.
like I'm sure he's never changed his accent when he's in these rooms.
I
He's
don't
been
think
this
so.
been this
Yeah.
like, but he's never like, what do they call that? Code switched. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he like I when he started telling me his story, I was like, damn, dude, like that's tight.
So
Like you
dope.
can tell he's always been in him and being in those white spaces. That's just like you said, like people can do that shit.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. It's so dope to see. Yeah.
Yeah, and you talk about Irene and what I had Irene on about was like most of our conversation was like art too, because she's a dope artist, muralist
Amazing.
as
Yeah.
well, like
Amazing.
dope people all around. But was the Food What program
Yeah.
or organization, right? It's org.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
nonprofit.
So
Yeah.
that's a nonprofit that you did a lot of work for in Wattsville, correct?
In Santa Cruz and
Oh,
Wattsville.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Food What? If you want me to get into it a little bit, yeah. So
I didn't want to like
no.
put it all out there. I wanted you to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so Food What? Yeah, it's a nonprofit, but I like to think the community, the core of it goes beyond what a nonprofit can do, you know? But let's see, so actually my big cousin, shout out my cousin Jorge, he did Food What when he was in one of the first cohorts. I think it started in like 2008, and he was in one of the first cohorts, like either 2008 or 2009. He went to the same continuation high school that I ended up at, because I went to like 4 or 5, I don't even know, like continuation high schools, in high school and stuff. And when I was over there, or like he was telling me, he's like, oh yeah, there's this program, and it's like you work on a farm and you learn about food and you learn about all the impacts of everything happening in the world and how it affects us and our neighborhoods and all this kind of stuff. Like he told me a little bit about it. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool or whatever. But then when I was like really in the school and I needed credits, I needed like more credits to graduate. Cause I was honestly, I was going to drop out, but it was things like Food What and other programs. Cause I was on like academic probation and stuff. They're like, oh, you can get credits and you get paid. And so I did this program. I was still in high school, and it was a bunch of fools like me, like people that look like me, people I grew up with, like my homies were in it, my homegirls were in it, like, and we went to the farm every week. We like would do, farm labor, like, I think the first day we were like turning compost over and all this stuff. And like my dad's a landscaper, and my family generations is farmers, so like it's in me for sure. But it was also part of me. I was like, damn, like they got me out here like digging, you know, like I was like I don't want to do this, you know, at first. But then it was like, oh, I'm with the homies. Like this
Yeah.
is cool. Like, and they fed us, and then we got paid and all this stuff. So it was dope. And yeah, so that's how I really got connected. Like Irene, you know, works at Food What and really like showed me like love. You know, I was going through a lot of stuff at that time, a lot like you know, with substance use and mental health stuff and stuff at my home. And so it was like Food What helped me really have like a family and people to talk to. And I ended up graduating high school, and then I ended up working with Food What as like a, you know, like helping with the program, you know, even after I was graduated and ended up going to community college and all that. Um, but yeah, it really introduced me a lot to like social issues, you know, like obviously like I don't know, you know how people would be like, oh, like this thing radicalized me, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
for me, I'm like, bruh, my life, like I feel like there's no one moment because like so much history and like in my roots, you know, on both sides. Um, that really goes deep with this like organizing stuff, but food will help connect me and
Mm-hmm.
like learning about okay, like damn, like it really helped me, you know, like pinpoint like, oh damn, like my family been organizing, or like we, you know, even like organizing looks different, you know, sometimes it's like literally just feeding your family
Mm-hmm.
or all these things. And yeah, it really just opened the doors to me to learn about things. I started going to like conferences and community meetings. And around this time they're also trying to save the Beach Flats Garden, and so
Mm.
that was a big thing too. I was seeing these big protests, all these like students were helping lead at the Beach Flats Garden and walking through the neighborhood wearing these huge like yellow shirts that say "Save the Beach Flats Garden," um, and that I was like, damn, like it showed me like, oh, we could do something about it. Like if there's something in our life or in our community that's like feeling harmful or feeling like it's putting us down, like we don't just have to sit there, you know? Like we could put like the power into our hands, you know? So that showed me a lot. Like just shout out all the community Food What and everyone in that time, like 2016, 2017, like around that time that was organizing, because it made a lasting impression on me and so many other people for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a prime example. You're a prime example of like what those programs can do for somebody.
for surely.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's super important, like you said, that it's ran by people that look like us, and like cause and that's no knock to people that it's out there that the white homies that's doing the work.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
I understand. I had hella white teachers that like I absolutely connected with and were
100.
fucking
Yeah.
super dope. But like to make there's just like certain things that certain kids need in that background and that same skin color, that same kind of like story. It does a lot, you know what I
It does
mean?
so much.
And
Yeah.
you know, even if like there might be a teacher listening that like is like, how can I connect to this one student? There, you could possibly bring people like Miguel in to like
Yeah.
to
Facts.
mentor
Facts.
or like stuff like that, you know, because that's super important. Because I work with kids right now too. It's like it, if you bring someone in that they feel is very comfortable with, it's you're gonna get like a lot more changes. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
if
Yeah.
you know, everyone's different. Everyone's not
100.
everyone's gonna
100.
work the same and be able to do these things. Because working with kids, it takes a certain type of skill. You know what I mean?
100%.
So
Yeah.
that's like super important to have those programs like Food What.
100%. Yeah. Shout out Food What. Shout out. They just got land too. Yeah. They just got land, which is so crazy because we've been like Food What's been an org for like almost 20 years, I think. And now that they acquired land, there's so many opportunities that are going to come in them owning that land, possibly housing maybe for
Yeah.
youth, or all these things that are going to come. So I'm really excited to see what happens. And yeah, just I got connected to so many people too through Food What, like so many, like just so many homies, like that, so many people that I was friends with. Also, like to mind you too, like okay, so like Santa Cruz and Watsonville, unfortunately, a lot of the Latinos we're rivals in terms of like gang stuff, right? But food what really unified that. And I feel like because there was kids from Watsonville schools. I didn't really grow up with kids from Watsonville like that. And so it was a trip because they're from like rival gangs, right? Or however you want to say it. But these fools, I was like, oh, these fools, they're just like me. They're just like across the county, 30 minutes away, you know? So it was really dope to meet people like that way too. And just so many connections, so many people I met like through that.
The homie
Yeah.
Tyree.
Shout out
He was out
Tyree.
there too, right?
Yeah, so Tyree was before me. He's a little older than me. So yeah, Tyree did, and that's how I met Tyree. And worked at the farmer's market with him and stuff too. And yeah, like just amazing people like that. Like, yeah, shout out Tyree.
Yeah, that's super dope. And so, like you said, that this whole experience with food, what kind of launched you into what you're doing now with your life, and you're working for an org that is assisting people with mental health issues.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
where did that, like how did that come about here in the Bay?
Yeah, for surely. So I was doing like more like the, food justice side of work, like, out of college. Um, and just due to like I was facing some pretty heavy mental health issues, like 3 years ago. And I was experiencing a lot, like just going through a lot of PTSD and trauma stuff from my childhood. And I was working one of these food jobs, and I couldn't do it. It was like my mental was I was going through it, and really how I got connected to this type of work was I got put in an outpatient program for mental health, like a hospitalization program, and had to be there every day. I was there for like a couple months, and really what like showed me during that time, because at that time like I had just lost like within like those couple of years before, I lost like maybe 4 or 5 like close friends and like people in my family, all like men of color, and all related to like mental health issues like substance use and like suicide, that kind of stuff. And so when I was in this program, I was going through this stuff. I was like, damn, like like the food, the food stuff, like doing like farming and all that is so important, but I kind of need to transition into something that feels like it's gonna help like me right now. And also like that's like the core of it, of a lot of the problems that the people around me are going through, like the direct like action, like mental health, having crisis support, having support for people that are going through it right now, because obviously like the food stuff and all the social issue work is really important. But for me, I was like, this is how I can directly help myself and my community, like in that moment. And it, yeah, shout out my homie Basilio too. He, me and him around this time, we also started a little collective. It's kind of like we haven't done much recently, but we started like a talking circle we would do like monthly. It was called like Music and Masculinity. We would just talk about like music.
I remember that.
Yeah, we haven't done it in a minute,
Yeah.
but we would just talk about music and talk about things that come up, because for so many people like us, like men of
You guys
color.
would do Instagram lives, right?
Yeah. So like so many people like us, like it's hard to talk about emotions and all these things, and sometimes music or art can be a way that we can talk about it. So shout out Basilio, shout out my therapist in that program, because they pushed me to apply for jobs in the mental health field. And it's a challenge to work in the mental health field, but it's really an honor for me because I have the direct experience of going through a lot of this stuff, and I just want to help my homies and people that look like me survive. It's hard out here, and it's important that we have people that look like us, that have had similar experiences to talk to and to get through.
Yeah, and that's super important. Like for me, like is a big thing, because I'm 32 now, and I got sober at 27, and that was the beginning of me being like, okay, like I'm gonna change. I want to change my mindset, right? Like stop, because like a lot of toxic masculinity growing up on the res. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
and like, how do I? What are the things that I'm trying to like get rid of? You know what I mean? Or like change. And for this, and I'm still like working on it. I'm nowhere like near where I want to be or whatever. But
Sure.
like for the beginning,
Sure.
I wanted to like be able to like express myself more.
Mm,
And like feel emotions, because like being taught growing up, it's like you can feel happiness but don't show it,
for sure.
and then like you can feel angry and you can definitely show it, but that's about it.
Yeah. 100%.
So like
Yeah.
trying, and like last year I was helping with like social emotional learning in the middle school, and we would have a mood meter, and like there was like yellow, red, blue, and green, I believe. And like yellow's like, you know, excited, and like just seeing all those different words to describe emotions was a trip. You know what I mean?
And you're an adult at this point, right?
Yeah. And like these kids
Yeah.
are like helping these kids learn them at like middle school age.
Yeah.
It was a trip. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you feel like you were learning as well?
yeah, 100%. Like 100, because I would
Yeah.
have to read like ahead of like, because I wasn't the teacher. I was just
Yeah.
like there
Yeah.
helping.
For sure.
So I would have to read like the lesson plans ahead of time, and it was like sitting there just like, fuck, okay, like, you know, like that's a trip. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is definitely helping me in my life. You
Hell
know?
yeah.
And like obviously, like I said, so much more work to do, because like
Same,
27 years of toxic masculinity, of patriarchy just being drilled in my fucking head through shit I didn't even realize was propaganda.
For sure.
Movies, TV shows, all of this shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So like, yeah, still doing the work, still trying to like doing shit like this. Hope like you said, having those talking circles with men, for men, who people who identify as men, being able to express and have that safe space of like, it's okay for you to cry right now,
100%.
and not be like, oh, he's being a bitch.
Exactly.
You know,
bro.
like, and I hate to use that word, but like, you know, like,
No, it's an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no. No, it goes a long way. It goes a long way having those conversations. And yeah, me too. Like, I'm constantly learning, growing, and trying to, become, someone my ancestors are proud of. And am that currently too, and continuing to do what we can. And also, I always think back to, like, there was a lot of stuff I went through as a kid too, where like I was making choices like where I had this anger and it was the only thing that was really accepted for me to show, and I was fighting kids and I was getting in trouble and stuff. And I have to remind myself too, like, that version of me isn't bad. I was misguided. I didn't have the support that I needed at the time. And so I'm still that kid, you know. I just got the tools, you feel me? Like, and shout out everyone that like gives me the tools, like, yeah.
And working with kids, I've been trying to like get away from, oh, he's a bad kid.
Yeah.
They're not a bad kid. Like, no. They have a lot of emotions that they don't understand.
Yeah.
They have a lot of energy that they don't know how to control.
100%.
They have a lot going on, that they're a human being that's only 12 years old, or whatever group you're working with.
Yup.
Their brain isn't fully developed, you know what I mean? So I try to like have a lot of patience when working with kids, you know what I mean? When they're having these big emotions
100.
or like having these like meltdowns, like, and I'm trying to like get the other kids wrangled in too, and it's like I have to step back. Oh wait, like let's let that kid step to the side and just have his moment or their moment, and take the rest of the class outside or whatever, like.
Exactly.
So it's a working with kids is a trip.
It is. Yeah, I've worked with kids. I mean, really since I was a kid too, because my mom had a daycare at my house growing up, and then she was always taking care of kids, so I'd always be helping, and then like, working out food, and then all the other orgs I worked with, and then I work with kids now too. But my favorite thing about it is like I never stopped learning,
Yeah.
like I never stopped learning, and it's a blessing. It's exhausting, but it's dope.
You recently went to your mom's homelands, right?
My dad's home. Oh, my mom. So, okay. So My mom is
Because we
yeah.
we didn't touch on because you
Yeah, we
said
didn't
both.
touch
Yeah,
base.
yeah.
So my mom is my mom's Dakota. My mom's Dakota and white like mixed, but my mom is from New Mexico,
Uh
from
huh.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. Grew up like on the pueblos and around there. But our family's from her mom's side is from South Dakota. Um, and I've been to South Dakota a long time ago, but so we went back to New Mexico recently where my mom grew up.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, I got to get out to the res though, Lake Traverse in South Dakota
Oh, okay.
eventually. But yeah, but New Mexico is like my mom grew up there, and like we have a lot of family and friends there that are native to that land, and so really, yeah, shout out all my Dene and
Yeah.
like all my Pueblo, family and people I know, because that's a special place, man. Have you been?
I haven't been yet.
Dude, like New Mexico, shout out New Mexico. Like, it's such a beautiful place. And really, like, my mom had a Albuquerque's gnarly. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of, like, my mom grew up in the International District, also known as the War Zone. And it's like being in, like, it's the hood,
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to like East Oakland in a way. I mean, just like in the hood sense, but also like because like there's all these like people from different places that move there, and
I mean, they got that Walter White out there.
dude, that shit's real out
That's
there.
what
You
I'm
feel me?
saying.
Like
Like some TV shows are
yeah,
like,
it's based off
yeah,
of
yeah,
So
yeah.
like out there, it's really heavy because so many of the people you see that are in that circle are native, bro.
Oh,
Are native, and like even my grandma, like my grandma went through she was hospitalized for mental health stuff when she was a kid, bro. Like out of fucking when she was like in one of the schools, they put her in a mental institute because she started speaking up about some stuff she had gone through, and so like that shit goes deep, like with addiction too, with like my mom's side goes really deep, and then yeah, it's Albuquerque's a gnarly place, but it's really the land of enchantment. That's what they call New Mexico, but it's a beautiful place,
yeah.
bro. Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Landscape
Yeah,
wise, I heard it's amazing.
it's like I never seen anything else like it, but
Did you
yeah,
drive out there or
we
flew?
drove out
Okay,
there.
cool.
Yeah, we drove out there. We stayed at my water. Sorry. We stayed
Oh,
at
fucking up the equipment. Nah, just kidding.
hey, this full. Yeah. Nah, we stayed. I can't remember the name of the res that we stayed on, but we stayed at a casino on the way over there, like in like it's like Laughlin, Nevada, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
Yeah, and then it was somewhere over there, and then we drove, and then we stayed out there for like a week, and yeah, I'm about to go next month to or this month in like 2 weeks. I'm about to go to this. I met some friends out in New Mexico when I was there, and they invited me to go to this like all native hardcore festival
I
in
gave them a follow
Arizona.
today. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
followed me back. Yeah,
Shout out Stolen Land Fest. Excited to be there. But yeah, being like I'm more recently continuing to learn about my native roots with my mom, um, and then being Salvadorian, like it's a blessing,
yeah.
bro. Because like I come from resilience on both sides, and it's also a mix that you don't hear too often.
Yeah.
I have a couple friends. I got two other friends that are native to like North America and also Salvadorian, and
Yeah.
it's really dope.
That's super dope.
Yeah,
All right. This is the like kind of the last question before
for sure.
we head out. And I asked this to everybody just because, and we talked about like working with youth, you know what I mean? And I think it's important to like, because they're going to come to us for guidance. They're going to come for us for like information, you know what I mean? Or advice. And I always like to ask people, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
Yeah, I love that question. I was thinking about it yesterday because you had sent it to me, and I was like, like I feel like there's so much stuff I wanted to do when I was like 16, in high school and stuff, like art wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to make shirts, I wanted to do this and do that. But like I didn't really have like easy access to the tools, right?
Yeah.
But like the ideas were there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what I would tell myself at that age is like, you can do it. Like, you know, like it's okay to fail. It's okay for people not to like it. Like, if that's how you want to express yourself, do it. Like, that's dope. Like, I was going through all sorts of mental health stuff at that time. Like, it was hard for me to live every day. But drawing and hanging with my friends and really like those fun things is what made life worth it. And like, yeah, like just, I guess to myself is like, you have an idea, like, don't let other people's opinions like put you down. Like, just keep creating. Like, I want to keep creating art till the day I die, like, and it's a trip too, because like art can look so different in so many different ways. And yeah, just like I never thought I'd be going to El Salvador, to the village de Huicho, painting a mural about the massacre that happened with OGs that are refugees that were survivors of this war, right? Like, I did that this last summer, and I'm like, I never thought I'd do that. And so just keep going. I would tell myself, keep going, and like, it gets better. It gets worse, it gets better, but it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And
Yeah.
I always love to be able to hear people's like what you would tell yourself. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. Is there any last like shout outs you want to give any of the homies? Any upcoming events that people can see you table at, that can get these your artwork or any of your merch? Yeah, just let people know.
Sure. Yeah. Only upcoming event I have right now is Stolen Land Fest. It's in Arizona, but we'll be outside for that one. I'm super excited.
I don't know. You might randomly get a person listening from here. Like,
shout
I
out.
heard you on Burn the Wagon.
Yeah, I'll be there, bro. It's like the weekend of the 20th of March. Yeah, I'm super excited. But yeah, that shout out everyone. I have so many people to shout out. Shout out all my angels. G Heaven is like, my art thing. Like, I'm always trying to shout out all the people before me. And like my homies that I passed, shout out my grandmas, both my grandmas, my grandpa, my all my siblings, my relatives. Just shout out you. Thank you for this opportunity. I've never done podcast, and it's dope. Like, I've been super juiced on it. So yeah, I'm just excited for what's next. Continuing with this art stuff, and hit me up for if anyone ever, if you're doing an organizing thing and you want like a flyer or something, hit me up. The worst I could say is I can't right now, but if I got capacity, I always love to support indigenous voices and always like to do drawings and all that. So yeah,
right on. Thank
power
you
to the people. You feel me?
Yep, appreciate it. And again, give us a follow on preferably YouTube, because I'm still on Spotify, still trying to find somewhere else to put that shit. But I definitely want to dedicate this one to the homie Evan Daniels, who recently just passed away to the spirit realm this last week. Real homie that showed me a lot of love in Santa Cruz. So yeah, I love you, brother, and peace and love.
Hell yeah.